for you. Let us talk.
And you've got to tell them your story really quick. When you came out, just what your mom said. This is hysterical. I mean, it wasn't hysterical at the time, but it's pretty fucking funny. I want to know.
Okay, well, my mom, I came out to my mom and she did this whole crying thing and you're ruining my life and you can't steal my grandchildren and all that kind of stuff. And then she told me not to tell anyone. So I didn't tell my brother or my stepsister or anybody, and I waited a couple years, and then on Christmas Eve, we were at home having a big argument, and my brother walked in the door and she goes, "Jay, Annie's a fag!"
And how did your brother take that?
And my brother said, "No shit, Mom."
It's true though, but like the sisters and the brothers always know. Because I told my sister, she was like, "Yeah, Anne."
My brother too. My brother was like, "Well, I figured as much." Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I have our good friend Bill Rancitelli out here who's been on our show before and designed my fabulous shirt. He's going to tell us about his story.
Well, mine is sort of a non-story. I never had to come out
good.
because I was never in. My mother told me I was gay. I had known this since I was 8, but I thought it was a big secret. You know, me playing with the paper dolls, nobody ever caught on with that kind of thing, except everybody who watched me and said how pretty they were. I had a very supportive Italian family growing up in the 50s and 60s, which
You had an
very
Italian family that was supportive in the 50s and 60s?
Yes, all of my mother's 8 brothers and sisters. They just loved me. And so look how pretty that dress he cut out is. So, I was going through high school realizing I was gay, you know, and I said nothing's going to go on until I leave this town in New Jersey, which I love dearly, but I knew I didn't really live there. We were driving around and she said, you know, I know you're gay. And for a woman to say that in 1968, an Italian woman, that's really unusual.
Please tell me. I know. Yeah, Frank's going to share with us. Yeah, you have to continue the story after you tell your mom that.
Well, the funny thing, when I told my mom, so Frantz was on the road and it was my niece's birthday and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, so I told her, and it was beautiful. I have to say, if I could wish anything on any gay person, I wish they could have the same experience I had coming out to my mother. She was amazing. But at some point, my best friend Benny, who's the stage manager here, my mother said to me, "Does Benny know that you're gay?" So I was like, "Ma, Benny is gay too." And she goes, No, he's not. And I'm like, "No, he's gay." And she's like, "No, Benny's not gay. He's going through a phase." I'm like, "Well, what the fuck? Why do you believe I'm gay and Benny's not?"
He's going through a phase.
So like 2 years later, Benny comes out to his family and they were all upset and everything. And they're like, "Oh, and Frank's a homo too, right?" And I'm like, that's my coming out story.
Jerry, do you have a coming out story? Oh,
Jerry has a story.
I do have a story. But it's a story in reverse. So I come from a family of 5, and my youngest brother was always a little effeminate, and we used to love, you know, running around and dancing in tights and things like that. And so my mother, and he was 5. I mean, you know, kids when they're 5, they run around, they dance in tights, they do fun things. So my mother told everybody, "Your brother's special. He's definitely gay. He's gay. And when he does come out, don't say anything. He's special, it's all fine. Everything else, he's totally gay." So Ben was 5. So Ben got to 13, 14, 15, and Ben was not gay. But Ben was still gay in my mother's mind. It's just a matter of time.
It's a phase.
No, he's gay. Ben is 35 years old. He's now married. We're all sitting at the dinner table. We're having a bit of a laugh, and I'm like, you know, eating my chops, saying, you know, ha ha ha. It was really funny when Bum used to tell us all that you were gay. And Ben goes, "She did what?" And my mother says, shut up. And Ben, my little youngest brother, looks at my mother and he said, "You've been telling people for 30 years I'm gay?"
Come on, I know you have a story right here. Look at him, I love him.
Well, I'm Indian, and I told my family in stages, and this is actually, they were fine, but I wrote a novel that came out last year, which is about a gay Indian boy. And my parents have been very supportive, but I went home. I'm from Ohio, and so I went back to Ohio to do a radio program because my dad, who loves music, does a radio program on the weekends called Bollywood Music and Masala back in Ohio.
All right.
So your dad's gay.
So my dad. But he was itching for it. So he has to interview me on the air, and then afterwards my dad is driving us home in our minivan, and he goes, Rakesh, it's just so great that you wrote this book. I was reading a book for the second time, and I realized, everybody, man, woman, boy, girl, they can all relate to, and I thought he was going to say, like, self-identity, or culture clash, or coming of age, and he was like, everybody, man, woman, boy, girl, they can all relate to masturbating. Some parents, especially immigrant parents, when they're okay with it, they try to overcompensate. So I would never have that conversation with my brothers.
So now, do you have an image of your father masturbating in your mind?
Oh, thanks.
Anybody else?
That's fantastic. Thank you. Really great.
So mine involves Anne's mother too.
We're not the center of a lot of things.
Our family vacations cruise. Rosie O'Donnell and her wife at that time, because Anne was performing, so I was going to go, be supportive and go on this cruise. And her mother sort of asked me. She just flat out asked me. She said, "Jeremy, are you gay?" And I was like, No, what do you mean? She's like,
but you're on the Rosie O'Donnell cruise.
She says, well, you need to be. So I'm from Indiana as well.
You need to be?
So I went home 2 weeks later, told all my family, and everyone was fine with it. They all knew, and I was like, why didn't y'all tell me 10 years ago or 20 years ago? The other side of this, I actually got married after high school and college. So the other side of this, though, like a year ago, my ex-wife found me on Facebook. And so she sent me a message. She said, does your profile picture thing really say that you're into men? And so then there was this dialogue going back between us, and she was like, well, if you knew this back then, why didn't you say something? It would have made the divorce easier. Her cheating on me would have made it easier for her. So it was definitely an interesting experience. But I wouldn't have changed it for anything. I mean, everyone's been so supportive, and it's been great. So.
That's really cool.
You should, I love that. Jeremy, you should Facebook her back and say she turned you gay. Do it, bitch.
But that's great. This is really great. Absolutely.
Yeah, great stories, great stories.
And this is really about, everybody. Jeremy, he happens to be straight, although his mother thought he was
ish. It's a hot girlfriend.
Straight-ish.
Listen.
Straight-ish. Oh, there you go.
Wife.
The brother that looked gay, does he look like you? The one that your mother thought was gay, does he look like you?
He's much better looking.
I can't imagine.
It's too fun. But I mean, this is what it's really about, us sharing our stories and just kind of sharing between the straight and the gay communities and having everybody asking questions.
How many straight people are here tonight?
A couple of straights.
Wow.
Yay! You can't count Jeremy because he's straight edge.
Well, we have a
Ish.
It's up for you. Yeah.